In the previous session, we discussed about the star schema, data warehouse, data lake, and also we discussed about what is dimensional modeling. In the case of data warehousing, we design the data or we do the data modeling using star schema or snowflake schema design. Based on the star schema or snowflake schema design only we do the data modeling. That is called your dimensional modeling. So what is a dimension? Dimension tables are having the surrogate key, and also it provides the context or descriptive information about the facts that are there in your fact table. That's what we discussed. And also we discussed about the data warehousing related concepts, right? High level, what is a data warehouse, what is data lake, we discussed it. And also we discussed about the importance of data modeling in Power BI. So without doing the data model design or without creating the relationship between the tables or amongst the tables, you cannot do filtering. Okay, if you want to do the filtering, if you want the Power BI to do the filtering, you have to have the relationship. You need to define the relationship. Without relationship, it will not work. That's what I have demonstrated with an example in the last session. Now let us take a look at the types of relationships that are there in the data modeling. It is not only specific to Power BI, it is common to any data modeling design. Okay, first of all, why do we need to do the data modeling? So to create the relationship between the tables or amongst the tables. First of all, what is a relationship? We need to create a relationship between the tables. Why we need to create the relationship? Because if you don't create the relationship in Power BI, it will not do the filtering. If you want to filter a dimension table to your fact table, you need to create the relationship between the tables in Power BI. Okay, so relationship is nothing but filtering. You just remember that. So in today's session, we'll take a look at what are the types of relationships that are there, and what is active and inactive relationship, what is cross filter direction, and if possible, we'll take a look at automatic date tables and approaches to create date tables. And we will take a look at how to deal with many-to-many relationship and so on. Okay. So what is cardinality? So in the interview, they ask you this question. Okay. So what is cardinality? What kind of, can you please tell me the cardinality that you have used it in your data model as part of the data model? Okay. Data cardinality is nothing but the relationship. Cardinality is nothing but the relationship between the tables. One-to-one, there are some cases we will establish one-to-one relationship between the tables. There are some cases we establish one-to-many relationship, many-to-one and many-to-many relationship. What is one-to-one relationship? So give me one example. Let me see how many of you are aware of this one. So this is during, if you are a computer science student, during college time you would have studied this one, right? What is one-to-many relationship? A single employee can work on this is one-to-many. One-to-one is a single employee can have only one employee ID. If that employee ID is unique, the same employee ID cannot be used for more than one employee. And Aadhaar number is unique. Each citizen should have only one Aadhaar number. Aadhaar number should be used only one specific Aadhaar number, right? Each Aadhaar number should be used by a single person only. It should not be shared or it should not be reused for other citizens. Okay, that is the example for one-to-one. The next one is one-to-many relationship. What is one-to-many relationship? A single employee can work on more than one project. If you are working in a software project, you may be working in retail project, and also you'll be working in supply chain management project. Okay, so you'll be 50% working there and 50% working on other project. Okay, a single employee can work on more than one project. This is an example for one-to-many relationship. And also another example is as a car manufacturer can produce more than one car models. A customer can order more than one item. So here you have a customer can order more than one. These are the examples for one-to-many relationship. A single customer can order more than one item. So the next one is many-to-one relationship. This is one to many. So look here 1, this is n is many, and here n, so it is opposite. Okay, so n to 1. So more than one employee can work in a project. Obviously, right? Say a project, if you take a retail project or retail analytics project or supply chain analytics project or HR analytics project, you see more than one employee working in a project. So more than one employee working in a single project, and more items ordered in a more items ordered in a single order. So these are the examples for many-to-many relationship. And any other examples? Why don't you people throw some examples? Let me see how many of you can give examples for this. And any examples for many-to-one? Orders and product. You can order various products when placing an order, right? Each product is contained in 0 or more orders. So each product is contained in 0 or more orders. We discussed about this crow feet, all the things, right? So an order can have products. Your order should have products, but not all the product you sell it can be part of your order, right? So that is what I meant here. So one to one, one to many to one. Next one is many to many. This is a little bit different. Okay, the many to many relationship is a very common scenario we encounter in the case of real-time projects or real-time scenarios. So this one happens when multiple records in a table are related with multiple records in another table. A single employee can work on more than one project. A single project can have more than one employee. So in this kind of situation, you cannot implement this table as it is. Okay, you need to create an intermediate table or bridge table or joint table, something like this. Look here, this is an example. So this is my employee table. The employee table, I have employee ID and the employee name, and I have another table called project, and this is project name. So please ignore this. This is not e-name. This is the project name. If I wanted to show or generate a report wherein we wanted to display each employee name along with their project name. Project name is available here. Okay, I just try it out. So this is actually project name. Okay. Project name. You want to display, your manager wants to see which employees are working in which project. I just change it here, the project name. But the employee name and project names are available in two different tables. If I want to select the project name along with the employee name, it is not straightforward because we don't have the employee IDs available along with this project ID. Here, we don't have the employee ID here, right? So we don't have the employee ID here. And similarly, we don't have the project ID on this side. If you have employee in project ID, so with that you can probably join it with other table and then you can get the project name. There is no common key between these two tables. There is no common column between these two tables. That is one reason. Okay, now the question is, okay, so can I keep the project ID here along with the these two columns? Yes, you can keep it, but it is going to violate the normalization rule. What is the first normalization form? It says rule. You should not have redundancy. You're not supposed to have duplicate records, and each column should have atomic values. You're not supposed to have more than one value in a single column. Each column should have single value. You cannot store more than one value. Right, so that is what. One second, let me just here in this case, let me just so if I put project ID here, what will happen? project ID. This is the project ID. Right, so the same project ID, I'm duplicating it. I just copy it here. And this guy, Rajendra Rajashekara Sundara Pandian, is a single name. His employee ID is 101, and he is working on SCA01. 50% he got allocated in this project, and remaining 50% he got allocated in RA01. So if you specify comma project ID 1, comma project ID 2, so what will happen? It is violating the first normal form. As per the first normal form, you are not supposed to have more than one value in a single column. Okay, to overcome this, what you do is you keep only one thing here, and the next one is you are going to put 101. You are going to insert one more record here for the same guy. Here you are putting RA01. But as per the first normal form, rule number 2 of first normal, what it says, you are not supposed to have duplicate values. Already have 101, again you are not supposed to have the 101 because the employee ID is the primary key column. Primary key column should not have duplicate values in it. So first normal form, what it says, atomic values. You are supposed to have single value in each column. Second rule, as for the first normal, what it says is no duplicates. No duplicates in your primary key column. Okay, so just because of overcoming this issue, you are landing up with another issue, and it is not possible. Hence, you cannot duplicate the project ID column here. It is not much helpful. Similarly, employee ID, can I duplicate it here? Can I make it part of this one? It is not possible. Same issue. A single employee, right, so can work on more than one project. So that issue again will come. Or a single project can have more than one employee, right? So in that case also the same problem will come. So to overcome this kind of many-to-many relationship, what we do is we will create a bridge table. Bridge table. This bridge table will have the primary key column of the left side table. In this case, the employee ID, employee table. The employee table, employee ID column, I just copied here, and project ID also I just bring in here. So employee ID I will bring in here. I will make it part of this new table. Project ID also I'm going to make this part of this new table. Here, this employee ID is a foreign key to this table, because the values are coming outside of this table. From where it is coming? It is coming from employee ID. So 101 from coming here, 101, 102. So foreign key column can have duplicates. Right, so employee ID is a foreign key column. Foreign key column. Okay, and now you might be asking, so we have two columns. So what we can do is we can combine these two columns, and we call this a composite primary key. We can say that also composite primary key. Look here, 101. He works on SCA01. The combination of these two. Okay, 101 is working on the same guy, right? So the Rajendra is working in this project and this project. So by combining these two, we are making sure that we are not going to have one more 101 RA01, right? So we cannot have the that kind of thing. So in this case, this bridge table, I'm talking about this one. This bridge table, the bridge table. If you look at this column, this is a foreign key to this one, and this column is foreign key to this one, and these two, combining these two, we can create a composite primary key column also. Fine. So after introducing the bridge table, what we can do is see now the relationship between these two tables is something. This is one side and this is many side. A single employee can so you can he is appearing more than one time here, one-to-many relationship. And similarly, this side, if you see here, project ID, right? So one-to-many relationship. Here this is one side and this is many-to-many relationship. You cannot implement it directly by introducing a bridge table. Now what you can do is you can write a query. You can with this table, what you can do, you can join with this table and they can get the employee name, and with this key column you can combine this one with this table to get the project name. Okay, so this is how in real time scenario we will implement it. But when it comes to the latest version of Power BI desktop, you don't have to create the bridge table and all. No need of having a bridge table. Okay, you have an option called many-to-many. You have something called many-to-many. Many-to-many. So, here what we do is we, set up many-to-many in the Power Pivot so that you can avoid bridge table also. But this is the practice. In general, we'll follow it. In the interview, they'll ask you, you can tell them there are two approaches. Approach one, we create a bridge table, or the joining table, or joining table something else. Okay, so bridge table is the term we use it in general. So this one, okay. And number two, other approaches in Power BI, you have a you can configure many-to-many as part of your Power Pivot. So in that case, you don't have to have this headache, right? So creating a bridge table, right? So this is a painful thing. You don't have to do it. It's not a painful thing. You need to be very cautious if you miss out anything, right? So in this case, we have two key column. In addition to that, if you have some other columns, if you introduce it, right? If you have more number of columns, 25 columns or 30 columns, it is a painful thing. So, but in the case of bridge table, we don't keep so many columns here. Usually, you keep only the key columns. All the other columns will be there in the other tables. Okay, but still, you need to join this one with this, and you need to join this one with this. Instead, better you can go for the Power BI's way of configuring many-to-many. So, using which you can implement many-to-many relationship. Srinivas, are you there? Srinivas is not there. Okay, now what we do is, enough theory. We will jump into Power BI desktop and we'll take a look at, first of all, how to create the relationship in Power BI. Look here, in this case, in the interest of time, okay, so what I did, I already imported these tables. Only 3 tables: dim category, dim product, dim category, dimensional category dimension and product dimension, and also NC sales. This is my fact table. So what I am going to do is I am going to rename this table name. How do I rename this? You can see, you can write, just click on this one, and here you cannot write. You can click on edit query. It will go to the Power Query editor. It will take time, right? So here you can modify it. It takes longer time. Instead, you can do it here itself. Look here. So on the right side, if you see, look here, we have NC sales, and we can see the 3 ellipses, 3 dots. These 3 dots are called ellipses. If you click on this, you will find somewhere rename. When you click, so I'm going to say sales fact. Give some meaningful name, or some people they use fact sales. So the moment when I imported only these 3 tables, right, what happened? Automatically created the relationship. So in this table, the dimension table, the category, cat ID and cat ID. Between these 2 tables, the common columns are cat ID. Since cat ID is common between these 2 tables, it automatically creates the link. This link is nothing but relationship. How do you make sure that the tables are having relationship in your data model? The link should be there. If the link is not there, then these 2 tables were not related. We are yet to create the relationship. Okay, fine. So the next one is the product ID and product ID. Look here, the moment when I hover the cursor here, the fact tables, you can see the product ID. On the left side, the dim product ID, these 2 columns got highlighted. So what it tells us is, these 2 tables, dim dimensional product and fact sales, got having a relationship with the product ID column. Okay, this one. And also you can check whether the relationship was created correctly or not by hovering the cursor on this one. The other option is, you can keep the cursor and double click on it. When you double click on it, it will open the dialog box. So here you can see the relationship. Okay, here fact sales, look here. So this is what the fact sales table, and then dim product, look here, dim product. We don't have to create it explicitly, but still we have to verify it whether the relationship got created correctly or not. Look here, this column got highlighted and this column got highlighted. That means fact sales and dim product, these two tables got linked with the product ID column. Got it? And also if you move down and take a look at here, we have something called cardinality. There is a many-to-one relationship exists between these two tables. So this is a fact table, this is a transaction table. For it will have in the fact sales you can find more than one product, right? Hence many-to-one relationship you can find it between these. So that is what many-to-one. The cardinality is nothing but relationship. The relationship is many-to-one here. And then if you look at this one here on the right side here, the cross filter direction is a single. Cross filter direction is single. What is direction here? What is the direction here? What does this arrow indicates? What does this arrow indicates? This arrow indicates in which direction the filter occurs. In which direction the filter occurs. Okay. So in this case it is a one side. Look here. I just move this little bit. Okay. Since I opened this one, I cannot move it. I just probably use Control++. Look here, one-to-many. So product and fact sales, you can see the one is there on this product table, and star is available close to this table. So the one side indicates the product table as the one side of the relationship. This means the key from the one side of relationship is always unique in this table. The product ID, it will be unique here. You cannot have more than one product ID for so each product you will have to have only one record here. But the product ID can be repeated more than once in the fact sales table. Okay. So this is one, that's why we can see one-to-many relationship. Similarly in the category, you can have only one for each category, you can have more than one product. A single category you have more than one product. So the star here, it indicates this fact sales table is the many side of the relationship. Okay. The key appears in the sales table for each transaction. Okay. So here if you see here the fact table. So first of all, why do we call this a fact table? In the fact table, you will have the numeric values, profit, quantity, sales amount, and these are your facts or measures. We call it facts or measures. Remember this. And also we have the fact sales will consist of the combination of dimension key column and the facts. So what are the dimension key column here? Product ID, and product ID is there, and cat ID is not there, whereas here the calendar table, right? So you have the order date and these two columns will be linked here. Okay. So the moment when you import, as soon as you imported all the tables or loaded the table into Power BI, right? So files, you need to make sure that all auto detector relationships have been created correctly by double click on it, or just hovering the cursor you can do it, which is better. It is a good practice. You just click on this link and you can go and check it here. Okay. Sometimes what will happen is, instead of product ID, they would have mentioned product key here, but here product ID is there. When you look at this data, you can make out, oh, this P001, okay, these two are same. Only the difference is the column name is different. So for example, if you want to change the relationship, you can just go and select this column here, and you can select this column here. So what it says is, this customer ID in fact sales and dimension product table, this is not a customer ID, cat ID, right? Here you don't have cat ID. Okay, you just assume that this is a customer ID, right? So you want to link these two tables based on these two columns, you can select it. But in this case, product ID and product ID, not the cat ID, customer ID. These two are common between these two tables, but you need to be aware of this one. So not necessarily the common column between the two tables can have the same naming convention. Here product key, here product ID. You need to validate that by looking at this value. So this is P01, P01. Or here product key is nothing but product ID. You can highlight this, and then cardinality is one to many. This is a product, for each product we have more than one product ID will be there in fact sales. Hence it is a many to one, right? So you for each more than one time the product ID will be there for each instance of this one. And then the cross filter direction is single. Here if you see the down arrow here, right, the product ID column flows from the dimension table to the fact table. In this direction it goes. You need to note down this one. So that is what this arrow it tells us. And similarly, what this down arrow tells us, the cat ID is flowing from this dimension table to this product table. And similarly, if you look at the calendar table, the date column flows from here to here, and the same thing again, the date column flows from here to here. Let's say I want to use this product table to filter the fact sales table. You need to have this relationship, okay? And suppose I want to use my fact sales table to filter back the dimension product table. It is not possible because you cannot go back because of the arrow is pointing on the downward, right? The arrow is pointing on the downward here. Hence, you cannot go back in the opposite direction. You cannot go back in the opposite direction. You can use the product table to filter the sales table. Remember this. So you need to, when I say filter, you need to refer my previous topic discussion. Look here, this is what I'm talking about it. So in this case, country, you just assume that this is the product table. So since you created the relationship between these two tables, right? So based on the product ID column, so what it does is it takes the first product and then it goes and filters the products that are relevant to this one in this table. And then let's say if you have used a sum of sales, right? First it finds out where and all product A is there. So here product A, product A, product A, product A, it filters that one, and then it applies the aggregation function on these selected columns only or selected rows only. So that is what I am saying, filtering. So this is one side, this is the many side. Okay, so if you wanted to do it in the opposite direction, then you can go ahead and click on it. Here cross filter direction, you can set it as both. You can filter it in the opposite direction also if you set it both. So in the interview they asked this question. One of my student, right, she shared the recorded interview audio. So in that they asked what are the options are available in the cross filter direction. One is single, other one is both. So by default it will select single. If you wanted to make it both, you can select it, but it is not advisable using both. Both will slow down the performance, report performance. Anyhow, we'll discuss this in detail about cross filter little later. You need to remember this. And what is cardinality? One to look here. If you click on this, right, so you can see one to one, one to many, many to many, many to one. You have the privilege to change it here. By default, it auto detects the cardinality also, and also auto detects the common columns between the tables, and then it automatically set the direction, cross filter direction single. That means I can use my product table to filter the fact sales. The opposite is not possible. If I want the opposite is also possible, then I need to set the cross filter direction both. Okay, fine. So the next one is, so this is how we can create the relationship between the tables. Okay, so we don't have to create it deducts automatically, but it is highly recommended to go and verify whether the relationship between the tables are created correctly or not, just by double clicking on it. You can say it, or else you can click on this icon, manage a relationship. If you click on it, the same dialog box will open. Look here. So this is my product dimension. What is cat ID? Cat ID is a column that is part of my dimension product dimension table. This cat ID is called primary key. When it comes to data warehouse, we use the term called surrogate key. So we use the term called surrogate key. Remember this. Okay, which means it's a unique key. This column will have unique value in it. It should not have duplicate in it. So dimension table will have the surrogate key, which is nothing but the primary key. Along with it, it will have descriptive information. The next one is the fact sales. In this table, we can see the order date, and then the calendar table dimension is a dimension here. So here we have many-to-one relationship. We can verify the relationship between all the tables in one go by clicking on the manage relationship. So fact sales product ID and product dimension table product ID got linked, and fact sales ship date and calendar date we did not do it. Okay, even if you select it, it will not work. That is a different thing. We will discuss this little later, and this is a different thing. Fine. Okay, hope you understood how to create a relationship. Okay, let's say your customer has given you the data set. You are working in a brand new development project. So they don't want you to use the auto deduct option. Your team lead or your BA architect tells you, hey, don't use auto deduct. Instead, you need to set the relationship between the tables manually. So in that case, what you do is you can go to the file menu, and then you have something like options and settings. Click on the options. And wait for some time because it's very slow in general, the Power BI desktop. Okay, and then you have something called data deduct column. So data load, you click on this one. When you click on the data load, just beneath the current file, on the right side you will find relationship. Import relationship from data on first load. Auto deduct new relationship after data is loaded. You need to unselect this one. If you wanted to create the relationship manually, you need to unselect this one and then click on OK. So in our case, right, I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to select it. I don't want to change the default selection. So now the question is, let's say if I go to the options and settings, and then options, if I click on it, and then if you find the data load here, look here in the data load, you have auto deduct, right? Now the question is, if I unselect this one and if I click on OK, okay, you just assume that I unselected it. Okay, so what will happen is there will not be any relationship created between these two tables. Okay, so how do I create the relationship on my own instead of relying on Power BI to automatically deduct the relation between the tables? How should I find out? So you just expand it, you check all the columns, product ID and product ID, everything is same. One option is you can simply drag and drop here, product ID and product ID. You need to drag and drop it. This is a manual way of setting the relationship. We don't want to rely on the auto deduct because we want to be doubly cautious. The other way of And then if you keep the cursor right on this link, you can make sure that product ID and product ID. So based on these two columns only, we created the relationship. It is correct only. The other way of creating the relationship between these two tables are using the manage relationship. I don't know why it is coming. The other way of doing is just go here, click on the manage relationship, and here what you can do, click on new, and here I'm going to click on this one, dim product. Here I'm going to select the fact sales, and here product ID and product ID. First columns in each table will get selected by default. Yes, I want to link these two tables based on these two columns. Since it got highlighted automatically, I don't have to do anything. So this is one to many, it shows correctly, and the cross filter is single. Okay, and it will take for a while to reflect it here. Look here, dim product, product ID and fact sales product ID. Okay, we can see that, and then you can close it. This is another way of creating, and then it will take some time to create the link, the line between these two tables. It will take some time. Don't rush. You need to have a lot of patience. Look here, I did not do any drag and drop. I went here and I created the relationship between these two tables. Once I clicked close, it automatically draws the line between these two tables with the correct columns, or what are the columns that I've selected for these two tables, right? It created the relationship. Okay, this is a pretty simple. It's a one to many, and here one to many, and here one to many, one to many. It's fine. Okay, it's a very simple one, easy to do that. And if you have more number of dimensions, real time scenario, you will be having at least 12 to 14 dimension tables will be there. You have a product dimension, you have a category dimension, you have a salesperson dimension, you have the currency dimension, and you have something else called the region dimension. Like is multiple dimension. Let's assume that you have 15 dimension tables are there, 2 fact tables are there, right? In that kind of situations, there could be chances the columns might get the tables get linked, or the relation between the tables get created with the link, you can see it, but still you need to validate whether the columns are the correct columns are used between the tables. That's it. Okay, so now the next we will move on to many to many. I was talking about many to many, right? How do we, this is one of the important interview questions, and most of my students, right, after repeatedly explaining them, they are able to explain it successfully at the time of interview. Okay, correctly they are able to explain it. For example, I'm talking about the many to many relationship. So what is many to many relationship? What is many to many relationship? Many to many relationship happens when multiple records in a table, multiple records in a table are associated with multiple records in another table. So here, for each product, only one record will be there. For example, you have a peanut butter, you have a product, or let's say you have something called bread, right? So you have something called Britannia bread. The product ID for this Britannia bread, right? So product name is this one, Britannia bread, and the product ID is, let's say, B001. This is the product ID, and this is the product name. B001 is called your surrogate key. You cannot use the same key more than once, because surrogate key is nothing but your primary key column. And this is my bread, and the next one is peanut butter. So for this, B002. For each product, only one record should be there. In the case of dimension table, Britannia bread should not repeat more than once. Bread can come more than one, right? So Britannia, different brand, bread can also be there, right? So, but the surrogate key should not be same. It should be different. For each product, only one instance will be there. Even in the case of dimension tables, remember this. Even calendar is a dimension table. For each record, only one instance will be there. The same record should not repeat it more than once. Even if you duplicate it, it will not accept. Okay, so here one-to-many relationship. Here we have one-to. So we have only one. For each product, only one record is there. But here, more than one time, the same product can occur, because it's in the invoice. If you see, right, you have purchased peanut butter or bread, and your friend also purchased in another invoice, right? The same product can repeat more than one time here. It's a sales transaction file. That's why we call it many. Other tables, the dimension tables are single. That's why one we see, one here, and this is many here. What if I have, listen, here I have star, here I have star, many-to-many relationship. So when I encounter the many-to-many, for example, here I don't have single instance for each record. Here also I don't have a single record for each instance. We have, we can have the duplicates. Okay, I'll just show you the data here, sales one and city data. I just go to report view. City data has something, state, look here, in this column we have duplicates here, and city also you can have duplicates, but important, the first column state is a duplicates here. And if I click on the sales one, here also have duplicate. We don't have the unique record, unique values. If you see here, in this case, we have only one record is there for each product. I just go see, Britannia Red, only one record will be there. But in the many-to-many, what will happen is Britannia Red can happen more than one time also. Many-to-many, right? So that's why so what kind of situation it can happen? Can you give me some example? For example, I have a city data and sales one. In the sales table, so I have obviously the sales table will have the duplicate. So we sold products across different states in more than one time, fine. And we have city data. The city data, what happens? The same state, two different cities are there. Hence, the state column have duplicates here. This is a classic example for many-to-many. So, in the case of many-to-many relationship, how can I deal with this one? The interview, you can tell them there are two approaches, which I discussed a while back, right? So, one approach is, so find out the common column between these table. State, just double click on it. Many-to-many both, cross filter direction both. So earlier we discussed about single, in this case I am talking about both. Okay, click on OK. So in the latest version of Power BI desktop, it is possible. You can set many-to-many relationship. So the same training when I conducted last year October and all, right? So the many-to-many relationship, then the older version that was not possible, many-to-many. Now it is possible. Okay. So I just go and see whether the filtering is happening correctly or not. I just click on this visual. Look here, under this I just switch to report canvas. I was here, right? And then if I want to go to the report canvas, if I want to use some chart or visuals, click on this one. Under the visualizations, you can see different types of visuals. You have a table and you have chart. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use table here. We use table more frequently for troubleshooting purpose also. Okay. Look here, I have the city data table, sales one table. So I just want to take the state data here. I just click on this one. I select this one automatically. The state column got dropped here in this table. The next one is I'm going to click on the sales. Sales got dropped, and then population, if I click on it, display the population here, and then so this is the one is happening. And if you see here, okay, so now I just go here, and in the sales I'm going to select don't summarize. Don't worry about this, okay, I will explain it later. But what happens here is, okay, I should have selected this one. This state is, look here, see, state is available here, the same state column is available here. If you want to check, right, this state column is coming from which table, you can see it here. The columns will get highlighted. The moment when you select a visual, what are the columns that use it here, that one will get highlighted. So with that you can understand which column belongs to which table. But the thing is, here we have the state column, here we have state column here. I'm going to unselect this one. I'm going to select this one. Let's see what happens. The same problem is happening. The filtering is not happening correctly, right? So I just select the sales, don't summarize, and population also I'm going to select, don't summarize. So in the CA state, okay, I just put this city also here so that we should be able to cross verify it correctly. Look here, city column, I just move this up, okay, just beneath this state column I drop it. And California state, in San Francisco sale is 60 and population is 0.90. In Los Angeles in California the sales is 60 and the population is 4. But here something seems to be wrong. 60, 60, 80, 80 is repeating, right? So I will just go and take a look at the sales one column. So 68 is available only one time, but it is appearing more than one time here in Los Angeles, all the things, right? So what I am going to do is, now I just double click on it. Here city data filter sales one, I'm going to select this one. Here the cross filter is both, okay, direction is both, so that's why you can see the double arrow, right? So the arrow is pointing this side and the opposite direction also you can see it. Okay, here what happens is the sales amount is coming from here. This is what is happening, right? So the okay, let me just do one thing. I just go back here and see. City state population, right? City state population, here city state population. Okay, so that's the problem. Okay, here the sales is coming from, okay, so what I'm going to do, see, your manager wants something like this, okay, and let's do one thing. I'm going to select this one. This is the correct one, right? So here I just select once again here, don't summarize, okay, and this is the one. Let me open this file here. Better we can open it here so that right click on it. All these files are available in my GitHub, don't worry. Let us just cross verify this because testing is very much important. And CA, we can see two records, Los Angeles and 4.0 and 9.0, correct. And your, but the order is different. WA, Washington and Seattle and Spokane 0.70, it's correctly showing that, right? So you can, so it is doing the filtering here, but here what we want to do is, okay, here the cross filtering direction is both. One second, here city data filter sales van, and I'm going to, let us see what happens. Let us explore all the options. Sales one filter city data. So this one is going to filter that one. I'm going to select sales here, okay, in this visual I'm going to select sales here. See, it is not doing the filtering, right? So it is not doing the filtering correctly. It is repeating the same value. It adds all the sales value and then it repeats this total sales value for each and every record, right? It is not doing the filtering correctly. So when I select the cross filter both, I want the city name, and city is available in this table, right? City and state is available here, and it is doing the filtering, but what happens here, it is not doing the filtering correctly. See, in the Spokane, Spokane, okay, this shows population. Let me open the sales 1 file. We can see there itself. The state is CA San Francisco, and sales is 60. Look here, CA2 records are there, right? 2 records, CA2 records are there. Here it shows 140. It adds these two things together. Then something wrong here. I'll just go and check the sales. Here it did the sum. We don't want the summarize to be done. Don't do sum. Don't aggregate it. Simply display whatever the values that are there, right? So now if you look at here, look here, in this case what happens in the, let's look at the WA. We have sales of 0.70 in Seattle, and Spokane we have it shows something nonsense here, right? So 0.70, no, this is my city data, right? City data, sorry, this is my population. Yeah, let us look at the population here. Here Spokane 0.20, correct, and again it repeats one more time, and Seattle 0.70, more than one time it repeats, right? And then sales is 100. See, actually the sale is in Spokane is CA and CA, right? So the CA is these two state got linked here. Okay, let me do one thing. It is causing some kind of confusion, right? Still it is causing. So what we will do is better, we will introduce a bridge table. A bridge table so in the bridge table, this is my bridge table. In this table, what value I have it. So we will go and check it here. In this table, what I did, I kept the, for each state, I kept only one record. Okay, so that I can create one-to-many relationship. I can create one-to-many relationship between these two tables to overcome the many-to-many relationship. In general, you can tell them, right? So you can address the many-to-many relationship using the bridge table only. But the traditional is always good. Look here, I'm going to drag and drop this one here. In this table, I have unique records for each state. You will not find the duplicate of state, whereas here you will have more than one state. Same state can repeat here. That's what we have seen it, right? And I'm going to create the relationship between these two. Look at here, I have one, here many. This is my bridge table. Okay, now if I go here, and then what I'm going to see, it is showing some fix this. Now I introduce a new table, right? Hence it is throwing an error. I'm not going to disturb this one. I'm going to unselect this one. How do you unselect this visual? Click on the blank area of the canvas, report canvas. Click on the blank area of this one, and what you do is table. So here I am going to specify, select the state from here, and then state, city, population. We need this one, right? So we need this one, and okay, and if I use sales here, it is still repeating here, right? So it is still repeating here. Okay, so but here what we will do is, let's assume that this is what my, see in this case what happened. So the city data and sales one, right? So we have created a bridge table, and what we are doing is we can use the state table to filter this one, and we can use this state table to filter this table. Okay, that's how we can do it. So what I am going to do is, I just look at here. So I am going to see, in my case, let's assume that we don't want the sales here, we just want to have the state, city, right? If you want to display it, you can use this way only. So if you want to, let's say you wanted to filter, you want to extract this one on, right? You can do it here. So this is how you can address the many-to-many relationship. I just remove this one. So here what we can note here is, the state column is available in both the tables. Which are the tables? The sales one table also we have state, and here also we have state, right? So it is reasonable that, right, we want to report on both total sales by state and total population for each state is also possible, right? So here the problem is, in this case the state, so in this case the state is not unique, right? State is not unique. Let me do one thing. I just so what I am going to do is, we will try okay, here okay, and this is the state, and this is one to many, right? There is something wrong here. So one to many here is correct only, right? So the relationship between, okay, so next what I do is I just go back here. I just convert the matrix. We have something called matrix visual. I just use this one now. Here I'm going to remove the city column here. I just want to keep only the population and sales, okay, and sales here 790, and here, okay, here what happens here is, yeah, this is the one displays the total sales, overall sales. I think I'm using the older version of the Power BI. It's not in another laptop I'm using latest one. That's why the older version, it is not doing the filtering correctly, but the approach is correct only. So here you have one-to-many relationship, and here you have created one-to-many relationship, and what I need is, I need to create a report wherein it should display the state name and this one, the state name and this one. Okay, let me do one thing. Sales, right? So yeah, I cannot. So now it is doing good. See, now you understood, right? I intentionally did this one. Now what I am going to do is, I'm going to select this one, sum. It is using sum here. Okay, sales. and let me do one thing. I'll switch over to normal table and select sales here. Don't summarize. Okay, so is that correct? So now also we are getting this one, right? So the 60/80 sales is correctly displaying it. 100 and 150 is coming here, and WA some data entry mistake. Okay, something it is not coming here, and the population is, what is the population data here? Population data you can see here 4.90, and for California, right? So 4. Okay, these two it is getting added here 4.90, 4.90, and it is doing it population. Let me go and check whether it is doing the sum. Yeah, don't summarize. No, it is causing some problem. Auto detect. Okay, this one is coming from my this table, right? So 1 second, let me. If I using the state, I'm going to filter this one, I'm going to filter this one, and but if I use it, it's not doing the correct job. 1 second, let me just select state. The only thing is, right, I have the latest version in my other laptop. I think because of this it's causing the problem. I'm still having the older version in this one, the Power BI desktop. I would suggest, right, you can download the latest version and then try this one. State, okay. It should come from this table, the state, okay, and then the population, obviously it is there here, okay, and then the cell should come here. It is correct only. Okay, we are, okay, it is not doing correctly. Okay, I tested it also, but it is okay. Let me use city here. First of all, the sales is not filtering it correctly. Okay, some problem happened here, maybe because of the version, but the approach is correct only. Okay, and there is some problem here. The another approach is you can directly create the relationship between these two. That also it is not working here. That's what I'm wondering because of the older version. But I'm sure it will work. Probably I will show you in the other one. So for the time being, I'm going to delete the relationship between these two. This is what we tried it. One more time we will try it out without having the link table or the junction table. Link table or junction table. So I'm going to discard the connection between these two. So what I am going to do is I am going to create the relationship directly between these two. Okay, and here I say okay. Look here, since these two tables have duplicate values in this column, it tells us, it gives us some kind of warning here. So it is a many to many. These two tables have many records, right? This table have duplicate records, here have duplicate records. Still I say, right, I'm okay to go ahead. First of all, this option was not available in the older version. Okay, now you can enable both. So here what I'm going to, city data filter sales one. I just want to use this table to filter them. For example, if I select state CA, right, whatever values are there, you can add it together in that thing. So it is doing the filtering. Okay, this is the one supposed to do it here. And okay, now I go back here, state city. Okay, the same thing, right? We are getting the same values here. Yeah, for Los Angeles, this is correct. Population is correctly coming because it is coming from this one, and sales from sales one, it is not doing it correctly here. Let me just select the state from here. Okay, I just go back here. Look here. So in this case, we need to take into account sum only, total sales, right? Total sales and total population, right? So it does the pretty good job without using the junction table, right? So directly you can do many-to-many relationship. That is the advantage of. So that's why the cross filter option is very much powerful, right, in Power BI. So you don't have to have any bridge table. Without that itself you can do it. Okay, and the next one is an assignment for you, right? Earlier I demonstrated, and do the same thing, one-to-many relationship between these two. I will share this Power BI desktop file, hence you don't have to import the data and all, right? So everything is available as part of this one, but only thing is, right, you need to make sure that all these files you have it in your desk. Still you need to have it, okay, and you can create the relationship. That is an assignment for you. Tomorrow we'll discuss that one. Okay, so this state and state you need to link it, and this state and state you need to link it. And what you do is, don't disturb this one, copy paste it, and then pull the columns from the same table. Okay, only thing is the relationship you are changing it, that's all. Okay, and the output should be like this. Got it? Fine, but all we need is a sum, right? In that kind of, if you want to do the total population in each state and total sales, then this is more than sufficient. Okay, so you can directly create many-to-many relationship with the two tables. You don't need a junction table. Another option is, that is the one traditionally we use, a junction table. You can try that one also. Okay, earlier I have I recorded that also as part of this video, right? So you can watch my video and give it a try. But only thing is, the way we interpreted was wrong, right? So total sales we need to see, that is the difference. Okay, the next one is we have something else called active and inactive relationship.